Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. We return once again to American open wheel action here in Aussie Online Gaming's fixed Indy Australia League. The fifth round of Season 2 sees us hop across the pond to Europe. We're racing at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. What a fantastic circuit this is in any kind of car. Usually most famous as a Formula 1 and sports car circuit. You don't often see Indy cars racing around here, but sim racing has endless possibilities. And we're seeing one of those demonstrated here tonight. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. It's me, Reese Gardner, with Brady Baldwin alongside me in the comms box. Jay Kennedy is, as always, the one behind the scenes, pressing the buttons, making things happen, bringing you these live pictures across all of your relevant streaming platforms. Well, Brady, I'm looking forward to this one. I absolutely love Spa. I don't think I've met anyone who doesn't like this track. Provides great racing, lots of high-speed corners, lots of opportunities for big overtakes.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one too, Reese. One of my favourite circuits in the world as well, and be an interesting dynamic with these Dallara IndyCars ripping around here tonight. 19 corners at the famous circuit, opened in 1921, and this layout been in use since 2007. Just flies over 7 kilometers in length. Obviously, the famous Eau Rouge corner through Radion, as well down the Kemmel Straight. And then you go through Rivage at turn 8, the very difficult hairpin at the beginning of the lap. And obviously, you go through Blanchimont to the bus stop chicane to finish the lap. It's iconic race. There's no other words to say.
Yeah, true. If you know motor racing, you know Spa-Francorchamps. This track almost needs no introduction, no matter where you are in the world. But in terms of these cars, we are expecting that it's going to be a little tougher than it is in a Formula 1 car that produces an absolute metric ton of downforce. A little bit less aerodynamic performance from these Dallara Indy cars, but push to pass is an aspect of it as well, and drivers are going to have a lot of opportunity to use that push to pass over the course of the lap here. We're going to be racing for 30 laps here tonight. The drivers are in the middle of the 15-minute qualifying session right now. Of course, as always, drivers need to use both tyre compounds at a road course event, either the grey-walled prime tyres or the red-walled alternate tyres. Pit lane closing under the commencement of safety car periods, and every driver gets 10 push-to-pass periods in the race. Hit the button at the start of the straight, and you will have it all the way until you lift off the throttle. Now, the question is, how are you going to use them? Do you use them all up at the start? Do you save them up to the end? I think the majority of drivers will be going for the latter option.
Yeah, we've seen a few guys throughout the season race use them up quite early in the race and then be compromised towards the end of the race. So I think the right strategy will be to save them towards the latter half of the race. As we look at our championship points after 4 rounds, Timothy Vaughan for Vermilion Motorsports leads the way by just 7 points over Thomas Hens. Timothy Vaughan has only finished off the podium once so far in the first 4 rounds, so ultra consistent, and he will take the championship lead here into Spa. Daniel Edmonds, our round 1 winner, is in position number 3 in the championship standings, just 1 point over reigning champion Cameron Dance. Adam Blocker, again, doesn't look like he is making an appearance here tonight after his 2 earlier round wins. Tyson Broads, Reese Margetts, Harry Lawrence, Scotty Rankin, and Bailey Evans will round out the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Still not a lot between those drivers, still a lot to play out in this season, Reese.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is going to be so interesting this round to see how the standings look on the way out of it. Currently, of course, in qualifying, it is Reese Margetts on pole position right now, and we follow along with him in the slipstream of his Simrigs.com DPR teammates Ryan Jones and Chris Ireland as they make their way down the Kemmel Straight. But Thomas Hins pipping Margetts to pole position, 1 minute 55.002. That is the fastest lap of the night so far. That is a very big statement there from Thomas Hins, and Reese Margetts is going to have to respond.
Yeah, mega lap there for Thomas Hins to break into the 1 minute 54s. We've seen in practice the fastest lap was a 1 minute 55.126 from Christopher Island. Unfortunately, he has not set a lap yet, so Be watching out for the 23 machine, see if he can try and replicate that time from the practice session. If he can, he'll be on the front row of the grid provisionally, but we've still got just under 5 minutes remaining race, so still a lot to play out in this qualifying session.
Absolutely. Plenty to consider here as Margetts exits Stavelot and Paul Frere curve and back onto the original public road section of the circuit. You mentioned earlier that Spa opened in 1921. It began as a public road circuit and was only really officially closed off to traffic on non-race weekends in the early 2000s. That's a bit of an eye-in to the history of this circuit. Coming into the pits, one of the DPR teammates ahead of Reece Margetts, who manages to set a 154.7, and that is going to give him pole position for the time being. We saw some big improvements from Christopher Ireland as well. He manages to get into third place with his first time lap of the session. Daniel Edmonds, though, responding to all of that and getting up into P2. So Simrigs.com DPR have come prepared. Look at how many drivers they've got in the top 10.
Yeah, DPR is on song tonight so far. Just had a look. Margetts and Edmonds both had a little bit of a helping from a slipstream on those fast laps, which definitely would have assisted them to those fast times where they are 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6 at the moment for Simrigs.com DPR. So a fantastic challenge so far. Greg Patrick coming around. He's currently position number 20, a best up of a 57.699. Patrick had a really good run at Texas on our first oval round a couple weeks ago. He's going to come across the line. Will it be an improvement for Patrick? It's slight improvement. He won't gain a spot from that, but he'll improve about half a tenth of a second there.
Greg Patrick, one of the drivers using virtual reality headset here tonight. We're on board with Dylan Walker, who recently joined Drop Bear Motorsport and has been competing for them in this series as well as the Suit Speed Sports Car series that runs every other Tuesday night on SimSpeed TV. Walker currently up behind Daniel Edmonds, who just got second in qualifying. I don't know if Walker's going to be too happy with this. Through these high-speed corners, he'll be getting a little aero disturbance and will be struggling for front grip through that second sector.
And also Ryan Jones has had enough as well during qualifying, so he is towed back to the pits, so we'll see no further action for Ryan Jones in the number 11 machine. Currently position number 5, that is still on board with the number 3 of Dylan Walker. Currently position number 15. We know he's got a lot more pace than that on board the Drop Bear Motorsport machine. He's going to come across the line. Will it be an improvement for Dylan Walker? It is a slight improvement. Won't gain position though. Brody Shepherd comes across the line. He's going to improve by the looks of it. Brody Shepherd, he will move to position number 14.
Up 4 places there. Dean Jacobson also improves by 1 spot, shuffles Joe Mahoney down to 18th place. Reigning champion of Fixed Indy Australia, Cameron Dance, was the champion all the way back in Season 1, which took place what seems like forever ago. We spent a whole year not being able to broadcast IndyCar races on the iRacing service thanks to licensing troubles, but now we can. Cameron Dance is back, looking to try and back up that championship title. He's had a bit of a rough go at it, especially with the pace from the Simrigs.com DPR boys as well as Drop Bear Motorsport. But man, he is pushing out there. Just a tiny little slide there on the exit of Rivage Corner. But now he's back onto the back stretch, coming up to the bus stop chicane, the heaviest braking zone on the lap. Of course, the end of Kemmel is also a close second. Flat out through Blanchimont in these cars. It's a fearsome corner, that. It can be very easy to make a mistake through there at such high speeds. Over the curbs, try and control the car here. It's very bumpy. You have to trim out the car for straight line speed. You can't get the pace that you want through those corners. And Dance will ultimately improve there, 154.9. We have 3 drivers in the 154 bracket now. Margetts, Edmonds, and Dance. This is going to be a very tight grid. Only 25 seconds remaining on the clock. So if you want to get your lap in, you have to start it now.
Yeah, not much time remaining for these drivers. Dylan Walker, he's coming into the end of his next lap, but he's gone to the pit, so he's going to board Christopher Ireland now. He's going to finish his lap as we got Michael O'Brien on screen. I'm watching Ireland in the background. Will he improve on his time? No, he's starting his last flying lap right now with only seconds to spare on the clock. Michael O'Brien, position number 11 at the moment, a 55.652 on the board for O'Brien. Again, another driver that very much impressed me throughout the first oval race of the season 2 weeks ago at Texas. Unfortunately, you missed that one, Reese. It was an absolute cracker of a race, that one. And Michael O'Brien comes across the line. Will he improve that 55.6? He does. 5.2. So position number 5 for Michael O'Brien. Here comes Glasspool now across the line. Will he improve? He will go to position number 12 by the looks for Glasspool. A lot of Hins to the top.
Oh my God, what a great response there from Thomas Hins. And Greg Patrick with a slide coming out of the final corner will not improve on that lap. Unfortunately, checkered flag for him. Harry Lawrence, meanwhile, improving to 16th place, up from 19th. Bailey Evans is currently on a lap right now, and he looks like he will be one of the last drivers to finish here. Yeah, I'm a bit sad that I missed the round at Texas. Unfortunately, I was dealing with a little case of the COVIDs and my voice wasn't quite up to scratch. So don't worry, I will be here for the next round of the championship at Iowa Speedway. So we will get at least one shorter oval in before the season-ending finale at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Bailey Evans through the final corner now. Can he get further into the top 10 on this lap? Needs to beat a 55.5, and he does. He gains 0.3 on that lap, and he moves up to 5th place. Excellent stuff from Evans right at the end. Chris Ireland also on his final lap. Is this going to be enough for him? It's a 1 minute 55.0 for Mr. Ireland. He gets into the top 5. Fantastic performances from all of the drivers in this session. Can't wait to see how the race goes. This is going to be so much fun, Brady.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an awesome race, and despite being a minute 55 odd lap time, there's not much between these drivers, so it's only going to make it for an absolute thrilling race. 30 laps on the board, 80 minutes, just in case we do go time certain. I certainly hope not. I think it's going to provide a fantastic race for us to watch and a fantastic challenge for the drivers too. We have heard behind the scenes that the red wall option tyre does not last a whole lot around this track, so it's going to be very interesting how drivers strategize their race as we have a look at the weather conditions. 24 degrees, so a pretty nice day in Belgium. 28 track temp, cloudy, very low winds, so it's a really nice day for racing here, Reese.
Absolutely is. And remember, with the change for tyres, having to use both compounds in the race, we're expecting 2 pit stops. And it'll be interesting to see how the option tyre goes here. Let's take a look at the grid for round 5 of Fixed Indy Australia. Thomas Hins will start on pole position alongside Reese Margetts, only 0.06 of a second in it at the top of the field. Daniel Edmonds and Cameron Dance separated by mere thousandths of a second on the second row. Christopher Ireland will start in the top 5 alongside his teammate Bailey Evans. Timothy Vaughan, meanwhile, championship leader, starting out of 7th spot alongside Michael O'Brien with that excellent late improvement. And finally, it's 2 more Simrigs.com DPR cars rounding out the top 10, Ryan Jones and Scott Kozlowski.
Dwayne Burns and James Glasspool, another DPR driver, will share the 6th row of the grid. Scotty Rankin and Associate Asafone will start 13th and 14th. Brody Shepherd and Harry Lawrence will start 15th and 16th. Dylan Walker, he'll be looking for some improvement throughout the race. He'll start alongside Dean Jacobson. Joe Mahoney and Greg Patrick will round out the top 20, and the last remaining cars on the grid will be Robert Baxter, Tyson Broad, and Sam Katakuznos, who has not come back into the server, is Sam Katakuznos. So I do expect 22 starters for the race here tonight, Reese.
Yeah, one of them is going to be starting from the pits. It is Tyson Broad. He escaped without permission in round 3 qualifying. This is his first race back. So he's been given that penalty by race control. Look at that. We've got a couple of drivers going for the alternate tyre at the very start of the race. Dwayne Burns and Robbie Baxter. Now that is mighty intriguing. How much of an advantage will they gain in the opening laps here? It looks like actually Joe Mahoney on the prime tyre there. Keep an eye out for those red walls on the alternate tyres. Very easy way to tell which of the tyres is the softer one. So, everyone on the grid now, and the time is at 0 for gridding, which means we are about to pull away. Let's go through the final couple of corners here at Spa. A short formation lap here. They start on the run up to Blanchimont, so we should get our race start off very, very quickly.
Yeah, not too long before these drivers go lights out here at Spa for round number 5 of Fixed Indy Australia. Dwayne Burns will be the guy to watch. First guy on the alternate red wall tyre. Will he have enough speed to climb through the field and put himself in a good position through this race, or can Thomas Hinds fight for that first win of the season from pole position? The safety car pulls in. Thomas Hinds will get on the gas out of the final corner. We're green flag racing here at Spa.
Yeah, great start there from Hinds. Immediately, Daniel Edmonds falling in behind Reese Margetts. Actually, Edmonds getting a better start there. Very wide is Cameron Dance coming out of turn 1. The same is true for Bailey Evans there. And Cameron actually jumping on the brakes there. I think he might have caught a slowdown from going so wide on the exit of turn 1. He is falling back very early on. Take it easy here at the top of Radillon. This is where the big incidents usually happen. 5 cars in one small bit of racetrack here. 3simrigs.com DPR cars plus Cameron Dance and Dwayne Burns, who is starting on the alternate tyre. But Dwayne is going to back out of it and let these guys fight amongst themselves. The DPR teammates have to be careful here. They don't want to take each other out. They need the best result for the team.
Already 3 wide across the Campbell Straight there, Reese. With that slowdown for Cameron Dance, they all checked up and made for a very fascinating run through till the bombs at turn number 5.
Dylan Walker, heavy crash at the top of the hill. He stopped on track. And he's actually been given permission to go back to pit lane, I think. Unfortunately,
safety car.
The safety car's been called. Joe Mahoney also involved in that crash. That was massive. Fortunately, it didn't involve many cars, but man, that's a real shame there for Dylan Walker. His race over on the first lap.
Robbie Baxter there was the last car into that crash. He clipped Joe Mahoney and he went straight over the fence and he went straight back to pit lane. So 3 cars involved in that crash. And unfortunately, this is on board with Dylan Walker as the big moment. Across the curb, cold tyres, has a big snap of oversteer, especially on that primary tyre. There goes Joey Mahoney. You'll see Baxter come in last minute, and he was straight over the fence. So unfortunately, those 3 drivers have gone back to the pits. Mahoney's actually still on track trying to make it back to the pit lane, but Robbie Baxter, Dylan Walker's actually still on the racetrack. So
he is.
And Robbie Baxter, obviously, he glitched straight back to the pits after he went over that fence. So a few things to clear up here, Reese, before we go green flag racing once again.
Yeah, Robbie Baxter sent over the fence there and was immediately teleported back to pit lane. Sorry for my erroneous call there. My timing showed Dylan Walker as going back to the pits, but that was not the case. He was highlighted orange on JRT timing, and that's because he was the focused car on my end. My apologies there. Walker is given permission to go back to pit lane, and he will hopefully resume the race. But, man, it's going to be tough. Joe Mahoney still making his way back to pit lane. Absolutely destroyed front end on that car, and the front right suspension is completely gone. I don't know if we're going to be seeing any of these guys back out on track. I certainly hope so, but the damage is going to take a while to repair.
Yeah, unfortunately, they do have a fast repair available in this race too, Reese. So Mahoney's going to make it back to the lane. Baxter and Walker are already there, so they'll once they finish their tow time, they can take that fast repair and be able to rejoin the race, because the leaders are still on lap 2, so they'll actually be a lap down. So unfortunately, when they come back out, they will be a lap down, and it's just going to be a hard race for those guys, unfortunately.
Now, there's going to be a problem here for Mahoney because race control closes the pit lane entrance when a safety car comes out. But Mahoney really has no choice here. He has to come into the pits. His car is too damaged to go around for another lap. So what does race control do in that circumstance? Do they waive the penalty for entering a closed pit lane, or will Mahoney have to deal with that anyway?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Sounds like what we're hearing, he's going to be just at the back of the field either way, and he's going to have to. He's a long way behind the field, so he's got a lot of catching up to do, depending when the safety car comes back in. So, unfortunately, Mahoney's already had a tough night getting caught up in that accident. Dylan Walker's still in the pit lane, so I'm not sure whether he will come back out in this race. Robbie Baxter has come out as well of the pits from his repair, so Joe Mahoney's actually had his black flag cleared there, so he will be cleared to go racing once we go. It sounds like the safety car will have one more time around race before we go green flag racing once again.
Yeah, okay, so some extra time for the field to form up for the drivers that have just come out of pits to catch back up to the rest of the field. Baxter and Mahoney have rejoined the race. Still remains to be seen whether Dylan Walker will be able to do the same. Remember, he had to take a tow back to pit lane, so he might still be waiting for that tow period to finish before he can come back out. Let's hope that he can make it back out. He is back in the car, it seems, so probably just waiting now for the fast repair to be taken, and hopefully he should be able to make it back out. But regardless, this is how things stand at the moment. Edmonds and Margets trading places for second spot. As it stands, Greg Patrick up 2 places. Tyson Broad up 3. Scott Rankin, meanwhile, decides to take a pit stop early, and he might be going on to the alternate tyres here. We'll have to wait and see.
No,
he's not.
I reckon he's just topping up fuel race.
Yeah, there is a fuel tank restriction in these in this fixed setup series, so any extra fuel you can take. Rankin was already a long way down the field, so might as well increase the mileage a bit further.
Yeah, I think that's probably a smart move if you're a bit further down the order. Just top up a little bit of fuel, and it's less you've got to take later on, so I think that's a smart move for the 49 there.
Yeah, indeed. Also saw Tyson Broad come into pit lane as well. Looks like Dylan Walker, meanwhile, has rejoined the racetrack, but those repairs, or that tow time rather, took too long. He's down a lap on the rest of the field now. Hopefully he sticks with it. There could be potential for gaining positions, considering just how chaotic racing can be in this series and the perils and the pitfalls of Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, it's just one of those tracks, isn't it, race, that so much could happen. We've seen it in the real world during the Formula 1, the 24 hours of Spa as well. It's just such an unpredictable track, and we've already seen it tonight. One little mistake there from Dylan Walker, and his race is done already on lap number 1. So we've seen how dangerous and wild Eau Rouge and Radion is in the real world, and unfortunately it's already taken its first victim here tonight.
Well, safety car in this lap. So we will be getting back to green flag racing momentarily. Still got half of the circuit to traverse, but the safety car should pull away from the field coming out of Paul Frere Curve and give the control of the field back to Thomas Hinz. He went early on the initial start. I'm expecting him to do the same here. It is single file restarts in fixed Indy Australia, so he won't be under any pressure coming to the race restart here. 30 laps to complete in this race. We are going to be a 10th of the way through on lap count when we conclude this lap. Feels like it's going to be a pretty long night.
Yeah, unfortunately it could be a long night at this rate. Hopefully we don't have any more safety cars intervening throughout this race, otherwise we might actually reach that 8-minute time limit. So looks like safety car is pulling away right now. Isaac Edwards behind the wheel of the AOG McLaren GT4. Very nice looking car there. And Thomas Hinds now holding 90 kilometers an hour on the run through the Paul Freire curve through Blanchimont in just a moment. And he'll be looking to take the green flag. And look at that train of DPR cars behind him. Edmonds, Margets and Ireland. Then your championship leader, Timothy Vaughan, in position number 5. Then you got Bailey Evans, another DPR car in 6th place. Michael O'Brien, probably his best performance so far on a road course. He's in 7th, and Cameron Dance, unfortunately, with that slowdown down to 8th. So he'll be looking to regain some spot. And Hinds has already gone, Reese. We're going green flag racing once again.
Yeah, before the last 2 corners. Interesting stuff there. So there's probably going to be a checkup in the midfield as everyone gets the memo that Hinsey is already gone and already weaving to get some heat back in those hard compound prime tyres. Back to green flag racing in fixed Indy Australia. No moves into the first turn. But now we have to wait for the run down the Kemmel Straight. Michael O'Brien already on push to pass, and he will hold the throttle flat through Eau Rouge and Radion. Some of the most difficult corners in the world, that, and yeah, looked like one of the DPR cars going wide there. It was Chris Ireland. So he's lost some momentum. Up for a pass here from Timothy Vaughan potentially. O'Brien unsuccessful in getting past Evans, but has caught up crucially. Greg Patrick now on push to pass as well. The top 3 breaking away from the rest of the field. Makes that mistake from Ireland.
Rankin.
Oh no, Scott Rankin. He came in for fuel during the safety car period, and unfortunately it looks like his race is over now. He'll be requesting a tow from race control. We might get another safety car right away.
Just seeing how that happened as well for Scott Rankin looked awfully similar to that incident with Dylan Walker, just catching that inside curb through Eau Rouge onto the exit of Radion and just loses the rear end. Very lucky not to get anyone as well. Looks like Tyson Broad was a near miss through that accident. No safety car has been called yet, but I wouldn't be surprised where it is. And looks like Rankin has been cleared to tow, so we are staying green once again.
All right, so staying green here. Cameron Dance already right on the back of Michael O'Brien. This is the battle for 7th position. O'Brien had just taken that position from Dance. And so Cameron continues to fall down the field here. He's down 4 spots now. James Glasspool versus Dwayne Burns. This is a hard compound versus soft compound, and contact on the exit of the final chicane. That is the rear wing gone for Jimmy Glasspool. And unfortunately, he's going to have to make his whole way around the circuit with no rear downforce and a lot of left hand down.
And Dwayne Burns is actually missing the left side of his front wing as well, so both cars are heavily damaged after that contact. It looked a little bit awkward there between them. Obviously Dwayne Burns on the softer tyre would have had a good run around the outside, but it looks like just a bit of a pinch point on the exit of the final corner of the bus stop chicane. Unfortunately both guys will be affected pretty badly from that one.
So this is how it all happened. Burns dove up the inside of Glasspool at the chicane, but James managed to hold on to the position there and ran Burns out wide. Unfortunately, they made contact. I think, it's just a case of there not being very much overlap. Glasspool had the inside line, the best line through the final corner, and now Burns has to tour around the circuit with only half a front wing to his name. This is going to be very difficult through the middle sector. He is dropping like a stone, and the advantage that those soft compound tyres have is now gone. That's another view of the contact there. Get the feeling that Burns might have had to yield there just to avoid any incident, but at the same time, Glasspool could have gone a bit more narrow out of the corner. I think race control might judge that as a racing incident, but once again, we're not in the race control booth. We can't make those decisions for them.
No, and unfortunately James Glasspool has actually towed the car from the race, so I presume escaping without permission, he'll be done for the race. So unfortunately for the 979 Glasspool machine, his race is over so far, and battle up front for the lead race. Thomas Hinds still leading this one, but by only 0.3 of a second now over Daniel Edmonds and not much in it. We've seen the DPR cars be really fast at the road courses, as we see Dwayne Burns already in from the red wall alternate tyre, already into the pits. I presume going to the black wall primary tyre.
Yeah, he won't have any advantage now, especially because he lost his front wing there. Meanwhile, move for the lead. Thomas Hins will have to yield to Daniel Edmonds on the way into Malmedy and Lacombe. Fantastic job from Daniel Edmonds to get that done. It was a textbook move. Hinsey recognising that it was not on for him to defend, and he will stay behind. But remember, Hins is technically the fastest driver of the field at the moment. Let's see if his race pace can back up his magnificent qualifying pace. He's trying to get the exits here, but he's so close now to Daniel Edmonds that he will be suffering a bit of front instability through the fastest corners on the circuit.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea as well for Thomas Hins to maybe sit behind Edmonds for a little while, maybe save a little bit of fuel in that draft, especially through Blanchimont, the long back straight, and then obviously the Kemmel straight as well. Good opportunities to save some fuel, so it might be a bit of a strategy there for Thomas Hins to sit in behind him, and hopefully he can maintain the gap to Margets in third. But this little battle pack is now forming from fourth on back. Chris Ireland in fourth, Timothy Vaughan, Bailey Evans, Michael O'Brien, Cameron Dance, and then not far behind them is Jones and Sislowski. So nice little battle pack forming, really 7 cars separated by just a couple of seconds here, Reece. So it could be on, and Vaughan made the move there around the outside, Reece, of Christopher Island. Very bold move for Timothy Vaughan to the bus stop chicane. He is now to position number 4.
Yeah, this is the move there. Ireland has unfortunately been falling in terms of pace, and Vaughan taking massive advantage of that. He had the slipstream all the way down the back stretch of the circuit, so he'll be happy with that maneuver. And Christopher Ireland will have to stick in the slipstream for a little while longer if he wants any chance of getting that position back. His race pace suffering a little bit, it seems. Meanwhile, Harry Lawrence on push to pass. Atsushi Osafune trying to go defensive here into Lacombe, but the pace is just too great for the number 21. Harry Lawrence making up some big places here, up 5 spots now.
Yeah, he's moving through the field very nicely. Harry Lawrence suds 16th in this one, now up to position number 11. So making his way through the field. We've seen him have some really good pace throughout this one, and Tyson Broad as well from the pit lane start, now up to 14th. That safety car certainly helped his case for a good charge and potential top 10 in this one for Tyson Broad.
Indeed, and remember, Broad still has yet to get onto the alternate compound tyre, so there could still be some extra pace that Broad has at his disposal in the middle or late race. So Thomas Hins continues to chase down Daniel Edmonds here to try and get the lead of the race back. Reece Margets is sitting there behind, just waiting for an opportunity, but Hins, a tiny bit of slipstream on the way down to the bus stop chicane. He's not going to get it done, but there's a problem for Bailey Evans. Oh, that looks like a big spin on the exit of Blanchimont. Evans and, oh man, okay, so the right side of the car's completely destroyed there. He was right in the middle of the battle pack with O'Brien and Dance. Just looks to me like he straight up made an error. The car got massively unstable on him right in the middle of the corner. It snapped on him. He tried to correct it, but it just went the other way.
Yeah, we've seen that now twice through Eau Rouge and now through Blanchimont as well, that rear end's just stepping out a little bit on these drivers when they get on the curb. So looks like a potential broken gearbox as well for Bailey Evans.
Yeah.
He was stuck in 6th gear, so he's trying to limp it back to the pits, get that fast repair, and try and get back going again. He'll be praying for another safety car.
Absolutely, he will. And maybe he'll decide to go for the alternate compound too. Meanwhile, Greg Patrick trying to chase down Joe Mahoney here. These guys have been trading places a couple of times over the last lap or so. Mahoney with obviously a lot of difficulties in the opening stages, getting involved in the crash that Dylan Walker had at the top of the hill. He's wasting no time getting himself back up the order, already back up to 14th place, and hoping that he'll be able to get some kind of advantage in the pit cycle. He's a long way back from the next cars up.
Yeah, he is, unfortunately, for Joe Mahoney, and had that accident on that first lap with those drivers on the exit of Eau Rouge, and he's unfortunately got to make up 6 seconds to the guys in front, so he will also be playing front of that safety car. And Dylan Walker, he's a lap down. Bailey Evans, he just got his car repaired after that accident. Thomas Hinn has somehow gotten the lead back. We've somehow missed that, changed the lead. He's already got half a second on Daniel Edmonds, so he's certainly showing he's got some really, really good pace here tonight.
That happened all the way back on the exit of Radion. Thomas Hins obviously getting a great exit out of these corners, potentially a problem for Daniel Edmonds at the top of the hill. Yeah, the car looked very unstable there. All momentum was lost, and Hinsey just swung on by.
Yeah, fantastic move there for Hins. He's had the lead for now a lap and doing fantastic to try and outsmart the two DPR drivers in behind him, as we see some more DPR guys battling for position. Jones and Kozlowski, that is for 8th position on the road, and Jones will still hang on to it. Can't believe how many...
Oh, no!
Oh. Commentators curse, unfortunately, for Ryan Jones, holding off his teammate. Now he's down another 3 spots. He's let Lawrence and Asafune by, so Jones, unfortunately, down to 11th. Potentially a little bit of tyre wear kicking in for these drivers at the start of lap number 9.
Full credit to Ryan Jones, though. He managed to keep it out of the wall there. I thought for sure that would be yet another car with heavy damage out here, but no, he managed to hold on to it. And his tyres will be overheated now for a period, but he just takes it easy and he'll be right back in it. So, our top 3 spaced out now. Hins leading from the DPR duo of Edmonds and Margetts. None of these drivers seem to be having much of a problem through Blanchimont, but we've seen that take drivers out before, so they need to keep their eyes on stalks. They have to have maximum concentration through that section of the circuit. At the end of the 9th lap of the race, we'll almost be a third of the way through. And Daniel Edmonds, fastest of the top 3 that time by. He's been picking up the slipstream from Hins, managed to gain just over a 10th on him on that lap.
One thing that surprised me so far, race, is Cameron Dance is failing to get past Michael O'Brien. So far in this race, we've seen him qualify a little bit. He qualified in position number 4, had that off it the first lap, got that slowdown. He hasn't really been able to recover. The only spot he did get was from Bailey Evans running off the road. So still sitting behind Michael O'Brien, but it could be strategic. He could be saving a bit of fuel in behind them. So once the first round of pit stops come through, we'll see where Cameron Dance falls out.
Yeah, we did see both O'Brien and Dance on push to pass. Same for Tim Vaughan as well, I believe. So this battle by no means over. Dance just getting as much speed as he can. This is the reading on how many push to passes drivers have used so far. Right now, it's Michael O'Brien and Greg Patrick who have used the most, already down to 7. Our top 2 have yet to use it. Same for Timothy Vaughan. So my apologies, I read the overlays wrong there. I think it was potentially Harry Lawrence who was on push to pass, while O'Brien and Dance were. This is their next opportunity to do it, but I don't think any of them are going to. You know, only getting 10 push-to-pass presses during the race. You've got to be careful about when you use them. Maximum of once every 3 laps on average. So if you're involved in a very close battle like this and you don't stand much of a chance of getting away from the drivers in front of you, probably best to save it for later when it really counts.
That's what I'm thinking for Cameron Dance. We just got told from producer Jay Kennedy that Cameron Dance is clutching on the way into the bus-stop chicane. So big fuel save potentially incoming for Cameron Dance. Will he try and pull an Adam Blocker from Barber and do a one-stop here today, Reese? Is it possible?
Yeah. Listen to this. Wow. Yeah, he was completely on the clutch there on the way down into the bus stop chicane. He's trying to use as little fuel as he can. It's a good place to do it, right in the slipstream of Michael O'Brien, who's now passing Christopher Ireland. Big clutch from Ireland. He's hard on the fuel save as well.
There's a few guys that we're now noticing trying to save a little bit extra fuel. So are they just trying to minimise the amount they take through their two stops, or they are trying a very, very audacious one-stop strategy in this race? We've seen it be done before with Adam Blocker at Babel Motorsport Park for round number 3 of this championship. He somehow pulled a miraculous one-stop and won by 20 seconds. So is it possible for some of these drivers, with the complexity of this track and the two really long straights, are they able to save enough fuel to potentially do it? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. We might see a couple of surprises pulled from within the midfield. As now O'Brien is free of the clutches of Christopher Ireland, who's continuing to drop here. He is fuel saving hard, but still his outright pace isn't quite what it should be versus Dance and O'Brien. So keep an eye out for Dance to potentially make a move on him here if he finds that he can't keep up with O'Brien, even with the slipstream of Ireland. Down into the bus stop chicane now for the 11th time, and Ireland goes a little deep. This is the opportunity that Cameron Dance will be looking for.
Yeah, Dance looks pretty racy here in comparison to Christopher Ireland, and looks like Ireland's just struggling a little bit, potentially with the tyre in the later half of this stint. We're starting lap number 12 now, and see Michael O'Brien once again on the push pass to try and get away from Chris Ireland. He's now down to 6 already, Michael O'Brien, so he's trying to use that pace and potentially try and catch Timothy Vaughan. Is now on board with the reigning champ Cameron Dance. He's going to go around the outside. It doesn't look like Chris Ireland's going to put up much defence there. He'll get in behind Cameron Dance, and they'll be position number 6 for the number 1 machine.
And through he goes, nice and easy at Lacombe. Meanwhile, the lead has decreased for Thomas Hinz. He's still keeping Daniel Edmonds behind him, but I feel like it's only a matter of time before Edmonds tries another move. You'll have to keep an eye out for stability, though. Remember, this is a fixed setup series. All drivers are on at the same setup, though they can change brake bias and I think onboard anti-roll bar adjustments as well. So there's a little bit of configurability in the cars for this series, but it all comes down to whether or not you can get the best out of the setup you've been given. And at the moment, Thomas Hinz seemed to have a better handle on it than Daniel Edmonds, considering Edmonds' slight slide at the top of the hill some laps ago, which allowed Hinz to get back into the race lead. So, slipstream time coming through Blanchimont. Do either of these guys face an issue here? Edmonds a little bit more aggressive over the curbs. That gained him a tiny bit of extra time, and he draws up to Hinz in the braking zone. Neither of them going for the pits just yet. I'm wondering if the leaders are fuel saving like we've seen the likes of Cameron Dance do.
Yeah, potentially some guys might be just trying to stretch out their stints just a little bit more on the opening stint, and it looks like the top 3 are fairly well matched. Reese just hasn't really fallen away too much from the race leaders, and Edmonds, I think, is happy to just sit behind Hinz at the moment, save a little bit of fuel. And the battle is still coming on in the background. O'Brien's trying to get back to the back of Timothy Vaughan for position number 4. He actually closed in half a second that last lap, Michael O'Brien. So potentially with that push to pass on the last lap, he made us push ground.
Making up some ground is Michael O'Brien. Let's see if Cameron Dance can catch up to him and bring that battle back to the heights that we saw before. You also saw that Daniel Edmonds was lifting out of the throttle down the Kemmel Straight when he was about to make his way past Hinz. He realizes that, they're well into the rhythm of the first stint of this race, and it's probably no use trying to pull a move on Hinz now. Have to wait for a later opportunity to really make it stick. There's just too many factors at play here. Push to pass use, fuel saving, a pit stop coming up, at least 1, possibly 2 for most of the field if they are not fuel saving. I don't even know where to begin trying to dissect how this race is going to go.
Yeah, there's so much in the strategy for this race. They're going to try and unfold how much they're fuel saving and when will they use that alternate tyre as well. Obviously for the road courses, they've got to use both the black and red wall tyres. So will they just do a minimal stint on those red wall tyres, or will they try and make use of them and do 5 or 6 laps on them? No one has come into the pits from the lead group yet. As we finish lap number 13 and start lap number 14, we've been told that we should be getting 14 to maybe 15 laps on this fuel run for the start of the race. So I don't think we're too far away from actually seeing guys coming to the pits for at least fuel, and then obviously they'll be taking tyres as well.
Tyson Broad trying to get 22nd spot here from, 12th spot from Dean Jacobson. Doesn't seem like there's much of a chance of it happening here, but side by side through Eau Rouge. Goodness me, that's an Alonso and Webber in 2010 moment. Absolutely love that. And good on them for keeping it clean there. Mahoney, meanwhile, comes into the pit lane, as does Greg Patrick. That's Mahoney's second visit to the pits. Of course, the first was to get damage repaired after the unfortunate incident on lap 1. Greg Patrick making it 13 laps to a stint. And considering he might not have been fuel saving too hard, he may have to pit once more. Mahoney and Patrick have both gone to the option tyre. Bailey Evans also on the alternate compound. Scott Rankin's decided to go to it as well. Of course, Rankin and Walker out due to crashes and way down on the rest of the field. Everyone else still on the tyres that they started on, being the hard primary compound.
Yeah, just those two guys on the soft compound as well, and Brody Shepherd as well. He's on the soft compound as well, and looks like potentially Michael O'Brien pitting this lap. He's put a message in to let the guys know behind him, and here comes the leaders. Hins, Edmonds are in. Here comes Margets. Will Timothy Vaughan come in? Yes, he will. O'Brien dance. We've seen that clutch coasting, and he's got another lap of fuel, and so does Christopher Island, so this could be pivotal towards the end of the race.
Certainly could. If they can make it to the end of lap 15 and continue fuel saving from here, they will only be have to make one stop during the race. The question is, they will have to go on to the option tyre now if they want to go for one more stop. That means that they're going to be way down on pace by the end. They will get a boost in terms of speed for a couple of laps, but then the tyre will fall off and get the same pace as the hard tyre. Meanwhile, Edmonds has jumped Thomas Hins in the pit cycle, now into the effective lead of the race.
Well, I think that is mainly because he sat behind Hins for a lot of that stint and would have saved a little bit of fuel, and that's all it's taken. There's not much difference between those guys. And Harry Lawrence now, he's jumped Kozlowski in the round of pit stops as well. He's gone to the option tyre, so the guys like Hins, Edmonds, Margets, all on the primary tyre, they will have to make another stop because they have not gone onto the option tyre. Timothy Vaughan, he's gone to the option tyre, which is interesting. So is he trying a very audacious one stop? It'll be very hard for him to make it from here if he wants to try and do that. Or he's just trying to run the option tyre in the middle stint here, which is fairly different to what Hins, Edmonds and Margets are doing.
Yeah, indeed. So that tells us that Edmonds, Hins, Margets, they're going to have to pit very late in the race and probably just get a few laps in on the alternate tyre, and they'll be massively pacey there. Oh dear, that's a big problem there for, I think that was Ryan Jones who ran off there. Coming out of Couhon, one of the more difficult corners on the racetrack. Jones has had a bit of a rough go at it. He was up behind Osafune and trying to get it done, just couldn't do it. Meanwhile, here comes Ireland and Dance into the pits. Tyson Broad is going to join them as well, and I would expect that this is going to be Tyson Broad's last pit stop too. So that means Edmonds, Hins, Margets and company are going to move through into the top positions. Michael O'Brien gaining quite a bit in that pit cycle, didn't he? Cameron Dance and Chris Ireland are going out, and Ireland has stayed on the hard compound tyre. Cameron Dance has gone alternate and immediately on the push to pass, trying to lose as little pace as possible, getting straight on the push to pass out of the pits.
This is saying to me that Cameron Dance is trying to go to the end of the race, because he has gone on the Red Bull tyre and he went that extra lap longer. So my suggestion is he's trying to make the end of the race on this one stop. Everyone else, it looks like, has to come in. Michael O'Brien's actually come in on the option tyre as well. He's in position number 3 on the road at the moment. So very interesting for Michael O'Brien to go on the soft tyre as well.
Yeah, O'Brien pitted at the same time as Edmonds, Hinds and Margetts, but O'Brien had a much quicker pit stop, 8.8 seconds. So he's gained quite a bit of track position in that pit cycle. That means that if he is going to go for a second pit stop, as we're thinking the rest of the top 4 are going to, he's going to have to take a little bit longer there just to equalize things. Meanwhile, oh no, Cameron Dance! Straight out of the pits. We thought it was going to be a very interesting strategy call from him, fuel saving and going to the alternate compound. He has found the wall on the Kemmel Straight. No. Yes? Pouon. Oh no. Oh dear. That's got a sting. Harsh curb on the exit of Pouon there. Dance just got too much understeer through that corner, and around he went. Fortunately, he does have a fast repair in hand, but this has changed his strategy, Brady. He's going to have to go for a second stop. Maybe he'll get back onto the primary compound and stop fuel saving to the end.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate there for Cameron Dance. Remember the rates we've seen at the Indianapolis road course? We've seen a lot of guys struggling on the cold tyre with the Red Bull option tyre, and potentially a problem there for Cameron Dance. 23-degree track temp, so a little bit warmer than what we had at Indianapolis, but still potentially a problem on those cold Red Bull tyres, as Thomas Hinds now still trying to close in on the back of Daniel Edmonds. This is for the race lead now, Reese.
But Michael O'Brien has the fastest lap. He's 3 seconds back on Hinds and Edmonds right now, and a slight lock-up for Daniel Edmonds ahead of Thomas Hinds, so the pressure might be getting to the number 84. This is the question: how much will Michael O'Brien gain before those alternate compound tyres fall off the wagon? And interestingly, the track temperature dropping by a degree from the start of the race, and clouds have come over the circuit. So that might explain as well why Cameron Dance had those issues getting the tyres warmed up. Not as much UV light hitting the racetrack and heating it up. Plus tyres that start bone cold. There are no tyre warmers in IndyCar.
No, we're going to touch on race. We've seen it a couple times in this series, and unfortunately it's been in even the more experienced guys, Cameron Dance, and he's gone back out on circuit. He's down the order in behind Timothy Vaughan, who I just picked up on. Timothy Vaughan, after his pit stop about 2 laps later, drove through the pits as a drive-through penalty. So did he get a slowdown he didn't clear, or has he used up all these incident points? I'm not 100% sure. The drivers have 20 incident points, so surely he hasn't used all of them up, unless he's been super greedy in the first half of the race. So very interesting. The championship leader down the order in 13th, and Cameron Dance, who's 4th in the championship, not far behind Timothy Vaughan, in 14th. And we've just been told it's an unsafe pit exit for Timothy Vaughan, and that is why he has spun the car and crossed the white line. And I'm sure he's probably going to come across the next white line when he flick spins the car. So that is the penalty for Timothy Vaughan. So he had a bad enough pit exit and then got the drive-through penalty. So that's huge for this championship. And second championship and third, they're 1 and 2 at the moment. So this could be a big swing round for these drivers.
It certainly could. Well, Timothy Vaughan having cleared that penalty now. These are live points on your screen. Vaughan going down to 3rd with Hinds, if he finishes where he is, taking the championship lead by 3 points from Daniel Edmonds. Cameron Dance will fall all the way down to 4th. Reece Margetts, well, considering that Michael O'Brien will have almost burned through his alternate compound tyres at the moment and will have to pit again, and take what we presume to be a longer pit stop than the rest of the top 4. Margetts could gain a few more points out of that, but I think he will remain 5th in the championship if everything stays the same.
Yeah, potentially a nice gain from Michael O'Brien in the points at the moment. Currently P number 3. We do suspect he will start to drop off just a little bit on those Red Wall option tyres, and he'll 100% have to pit again and take a little bit more fuel than everyone else. We've seen him short fill a little bit in that first round of pit stops, so he potentially will drop down, but still a good haul of points for the number 45 driver.
Absolutely. Well, we're about to enter the final third of this race. It's been a very intriguing one with plenty of drama, as you'd expect from fixed Indy Australia, and there might be more here as Daniel Edmonds did not get the best run up the hill. Thomas Hinz now going for the move, coming into Lecombe, and Edmonds lifts out, lets him go. Remember what happened last stint. Edmonds did exactly the same thing. He decided to stay behind Hinz and save a bit of fuel and shorten his pit stop. He might be doing the same thing here.
He very well could be as well, Reece, and save a little bit of fuel. Once again, we've seen through that first round of pit stops that Edmonds made the jump on Thomas Hinz. So is he doing that again? Is he trying to save a little bit of fuel, let Thomas Hinz go, create all that, push all that dirty air for him and save a little bit of fuel? It'll be very interesting, as this time by will have 11 laps to go. So it'll be very interesting to see when these drivers actually do make their pit stop. Surely Hinz and Edmonds will go together to try and stay in that slipstream. We've got a replay, a Bowler Media replay of Robbie Baxter at the chicane trying to enter the pit lane, and unfortunately he's just got a little bit wrong and got into that fence, so there'll be front wing damage and potentially right front damage there for the 007.
Yeah, just caught the end of the Armco a little bit too deep into pit entry. The battle for the lead still on here, but look at that. Edmonds lifted out early. He doesn't want to go for the move on Thomas Hinz, who seems comfortable leading the race, but he knows that his pit stop, his next pit stop that we presume is coming up, will have to be longer than that of Edmonds. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones versus Atsushi Osafune. These guys have been fighting for a while. It looks like Osafune has had a bad couple of laps. That's allowed Jones back through into 9th spot. Pretty good recovery from Ryan Jones considering what we saw from him earlier. Meanwhile, Cameron Dance and Tim Vaughan both having to make unscheduled revisits to the pit lane, both on the alternate compound. Looks like Cameron Dance might have changed it for a new set of alternate compounds, but I think the age of fuel saving for Dance is well and truly over.
Well, yeah, you would have thought he might have topped up a little bit of fuel there on that return to the pit stop to get that fast repair. So whether he still has to make another stop, I'm not too sure what the go is for Cameron Dance. I'm sure we'll be finding out in the latter stages of this race. And Greg Patrick down the inside of Bailey Evans there at turn number 1 at La Source and gets the move done, and that is for position number 16. Patrick and Evans, unfortunately, was running the top 6 earlier on. Bailey Evans had that off, and unfortunately he's been finding his way back from here, Reece.
He has. Oh, here we go. Bit of a comeback now from Bailey Evans. This is the battle for 16th place right now, and they come together coming into Lecombe. Heavy damage for both cars. I think more for Patrick than for Evans. That's certainly not what you want to see. Evans now losing half of his front wing, and Patrick potentially with suspension damage here. Evans trying to make the pass, was later on the brakes, but turned in too early. Patrick was still there, and I think still had a right to the space there.
Yeah, just unfortunately 2 cars fighting for the same bit of real estate there into Lecombe's at turn 5, and unfortunately both drivers do have damage, front wing damage for both drivers, and they will surely have to come back in the pits because they're going to lose so much time without that front wing. They can come back in, do some fuel and tyres as well, and just have a push to the end and try and make it to the finish line, get some points. And here comes Michael O'Brien closing in on that option set of tyres. He was about 3 or 4 seconds back from this lead group. He is absolutely flying at the moment, Michael O'Brien. Can he potentially challenge for a race win here tonight, Reese?
I reckon he could. If he can make up enough time here. He does need to save those tyres a bit, though. He's been on those tyres for 6 laps now, and from drivers talking to us before, there's Tyson Broad, meanwhile, getting further into the top 10, passing Scott Zaslowski for 7th spot. Broad on an absolute charge as well. The thing is, Broad is, his tyres are 5 laps old. Remember, before Sebring, the drivers were telling us that the alternate compound only really has that pace advantage for a few laps before it starts losing out to the primary compound. I'm wondering if O'Brien will start struggling in the next couple of laps here. Joe Mahoney, meanwhile, just came back out of the pits. That's his 2nd stop. He's gone back to the primary compound. Greg Patrick and Bailey Evans both in the lane for damage. They'll get their fast repairs and switch compounds of tyre and get back out there to the end. 10 laps to go here at Spa.
On board there with Tyson Broad. Started in the pit lane, remember, Reese. He's now into 8th position from 22nd on the grid and also from the pit lane. So, mega race so far from Tyson Broad. He was really impressive at Texas on the oval 2 weeks ago. Again, he started from the back, came through the field, and fortunately had an incident late in the piece, but he was on for probably a top 5 run from the back at Texas. And now he's come from the rear here at Spa and put on a fantastic performance in what's been a pretty wild race so far. A lot of toing and froing, a lot of position changes in this race. 9 laps to go, and here comes Edmonds down the inside for the race lead on Thomas Hinds. He's not waiting around anymore. Both drivers still hasn't used any push to pass so far, and Daniel Edmonds back into the race lead.
Well, if there's any time to start using push to pass, it's now for Daniel Edmonds. Let's see what he can do to try and keep the lead here from Thomas Hinds. Goes for a bit of a slide in Rivage Corner. That's something I've seen him do a couple of times before. The moment he makes it into the lead, it just seems that he has troubles with the rear end. Maybe he had become used to the lack of front grip that comes from following so closely behind another car, and the car might be a bit too responsive for his liking now. We'll have to wait and see if he can hold on to this.
Yeah, certainly we thought he might have sat in behind Hinsey to save a little bit of fuel in this stint, but looks like he's been sick of waiting. He wants to try and push on in that clean air and try and now build a gap if possible to Thomas Hinds. He's already got out just nearly 0.4 of a second so far, and still both drivers yet to use any push to pass in this race. Michael O'Brien still not far away either, 1.6 back from Edmonds. He's already used 4 push to passes in this race. Who will be the first guy to blink for that final pit stop? Because these guys still have to go on the alternate tyre. Here's O'Brien now into the pit lane. We didn't think the alternate tyre would last that long, and that is the question answered. He'll be in for his 2nd stop, and so is Reese Margetts now. So O'Brien will be going from the option to the primary, Margetts primary to the option. And here comes Ireland as well.
Harry Lawrence jumps into the lane, just about to get the move put on him by Tyson Broad. Scott Zaslowski going into the lane too, as both of our leaders finally start using their push-to-pass presses. This is going to be interesting on the way to the end. The leaders have not been saving fuel like we saw from the midfield before. Oh, tiny slide there for Edmonds into Lacombe. He's evidently not very strong in this part of the circuit compared to Thomas Hinds.
And interesting enough, I'm just having a look at the guys that just pitted. O'Brien has gone back to the option tyre, and he had a very quick pit stop because he's still in front of Reese Margetts. He's gone to the option tyre because he's already done 2 stints on the primary. Osafune, he's unfortunately just come out of the pits. And also Chris Foland on the option tyre as well. So looks like everyone going to the option tyre for the last 10 in this race. Still surprised Michael O'Brien is in front of Margetts. Thought he would have had to take a little bit more fuel than what he did.
Yeah, I thought he would have had to take more fuel as well. He might have been so aggressive on the fuel save in the first stint that he's been able to shorten both of his scheduled pit stops. Who knows at this point? Edmonds on push to pass again to extend the gap to Thomas Hinz. We did see a license point penalty posted there for Bailey Evans. That was for the contact with Greg Patrick that we saw at Lacombe earlier. Race control judging that Greg Patrick did have overlap and a right to it. There goes Daniel Edmonds into the lane. Thomas Hinz staying out for another lap.
That is very interesting for Hinz to go out on another lap potentially. Has he saved enough fuel to go for another lap, or is Edmonds going for the undercut? So it'll be very interesting to watch. I think undercut as well for Edmonds. Michael O'Brien now coming through the bus stop chicane, and Edmonds still on the jack. He's going on the option tyre, and looks like he's going to come out probably just in front of O'Brien. As long as he doesn't spin it up on the pit exits, nice and clean, and he's going to get away. Hopefully he doesn't lose too much time on those cold tyres. And correct me if I'm wrong, Reese, has Tyson Broad made both his pit stops? Is he actually P3 on the road?
Well, yeah. At this point, he has taken 2 stops, but remember, his first was under the safety car, so there might be a potential for him to come into the pits one more time. Regardless, he's trying to make up as much time as he can at the moment with 8 laps completed on the alternate compound so far, but you see the difference there between old and new tyres with this softer compound. O'Brien ranging up to the back of Broad like it's nothing.
Yeah, it looks like Tyson Broad just struggled a little bit. A really good performance, and like he touched on race, sounds like he's going to come in for a field top-up at the end of this one, but still a mega recovery from the pit lane start, and now running in the top 3 for now. He's still going to come in, so probably on still for a top 10 for Tyson Broad once he comes back through and serves, tops up that remaining fuel. So fantastic job for him, but looks like Michael O'Brien is getting caught a little bit by Reese Margette. So O'Brien potentially getting held up a little bit here by Tyson Broad on this lap. And Edmonds has been able to streak away. And here comes Thomas Hinz now into the lane. So the crucial stop in this race, it's effectively down to Hinz and Edmonds for the race win here. Bailey Evans now, that penalty, that lost point penalty now being upgraded to a drive-through as Michael O'Brien gets the move done there on Tyson Broad. Through Blashmore, what a move there is.
Indeed, but has it come too late? I think O'Brien has lost out on a chance to get second place here. Thomas Hinz has had a stop in his box, and he has changed to the alternate compound, but Daniel Edmonds will race on through here to get back into the lead of the race. Hinz comes out alongside, but delayed as Hinz is immediately on push to pass. He knows that he needs to push now to get this win.
Yeah, we've seen the undercut now work. But Daniel Edmonds, it's a train of push to pass. It's a train. Come on, Cam. Come on, Cam, do it.
Join the party.
He's not joining the party just yet, but Joe Mahoney has. Sislowski, look at it. That's his awesome race, but unfortunately for Hinz, getting done by the undercut there in the pit stop, he will have one more lap fresher tyres than Daniel Edmonds later in the piece, but will that be enough to try and bridge that gap? It's 1.2 seconds right now, and I think the battle we'll have to really watch out for in the next lap or so will be between O'Brien and Margette for position number 3.
Yeah, we'll see if O'Brien decides to use push to pass a little more. Reese Margette, remember, holds the fastest lap of the race. He just set it on the last lap. And remember, he pitted on the same lap as Michael O'Brien did. Didn't have to deal with Tyson Broad slowing him up like O'Brien did. So there was a lot of potential there for O'Brien to make up a lot of time, but he just came out in the wrong place and unfortunately had to back off. And so he's burnt through some of the prime period of those alternate compound tyres.
Yeah, it's just pretty unfortunate there for O'Brien to where he came out. Broad was allowed to be racing their full position. Just unfortunately, he's very much out of sequence to all these guys. So Broad has made that stop, and as predicted, he is in the top 10 just in front of Ryan Jones. So He's going to have the freshest tyres out of everyone. Will he be able to make up any ground? Unfortunately, he's 3.5 seconds back from Kozlowski. Timothy Vaughan on the recovery drive. Where is Cameron Deans? He's up to 7, so Cameron's made a lot of ground up on Timothy Vaughan. Those guys were battling. It felt like not long ago. Deans up to 6 now. Vaughan still in 13, so potentially more troubles for Timothy Vaughan throughout this race.
Yeah, Vaughan's had a much rougher time of it than Cam Dance has, and have a look at this. Daniel Edmonds and Thomas Hins having to make their way past Bailey Evans, who, remember, just took that drive-through penalty. The battle for 4th closing as well. Reece Margetts now right on the back of Michael O'Brien, who only has 2 push-to-passes left. He's going to have to dose these out at crucial moments. Margetts has 4. He can play with that margin a tiny bit more.
Yeah, I think Margetts is in the box seat here to try and get that position on O'Brien. 2 more push-to-passes in play, and Thomas Hins as well. He's got 1 push-to-pass more than Daniel Edmonds, so nothing between these guys in this race. Very close battling, and potentially the DPR car of Bailey Evans, who is a lap down. Will he play a part in this battle between O'Brien and Margetts? Will O'Brien encounter him at an awkward time and lose more time to Reece Margetts? There's nothing between them. And here comes Hins down the inside of Blashamont. He's going to get the move done. He does on Daniel Edmonds. Will he defend now for the bus stop chicane? I think he will down the inside. He doesn't block, and Edmonds will sit behind him for now. We're going to cross the line with 4 laps to go. Thomas Hins back into the race lead.
Using push-to-pass to get the move done, and now Hins and Edmonds equal on their attempts. Hins sets the fastest lap on the way through as well. That is the second race lap in the 154s that we have seen thus far. These guys are doing qualifying laps out there. Beautiful stuff. So the battle for the lead is a little bit spaced out compared to the battle for 3rd. Is there anything Reece Margetts can do? Does he jump on push to pass here, or is the momentum enough for him to carry himself past Michael O'Brien? It looks like it will be. O'Brien stays middle of the track, forces Margetts to pick a side, and he's going to squeeze him to the inside. They make contact on the way down into Lacombe, but they both manage to get through.
Fantastic. Side by side battling there into turn number 5, and Margetts will go on the block straight away into Ravage. He will hold the inside line, and Cameron Dance, reigning champion, he has had to make that second stop. He was not going to make it home with just that 1 pit stop, so he's come for that second time. He's now down to 13, so unfortunately the reigning champion's night has gone from bad to worse, and Thomas Hins has already pulled out a second gap on Daniel Edmonds here. Is Edmonds a little bit tight on fuel potentially, Reece? Does he have to save a little bit, or is Thomas Hins just that quick?
I think it's a combination of both. Daniel Edmonds' pit stop was 6.7 seconds. Thomas Hins, meanwhile, 7.8 seconds. Hinsey would have put a little more fuel in the car than Edmonds did. And plus, Hins has tyres that are a lap fresher than Edmonds right now. So he's able to push more. He's able to take more out of the car. Use push to pass more, as he's doing right now. 5 attempts left there. Margetts and O'Brien both on push to pass meanwhile. O'Brien trying to keep up with Margetts here, but for the time being, it's looking unsuccessful.
Yes, and Michael O'Brien, I think, just struggling a little bit to stay with Margetts. The DPR cars have looked really fast here tonight, especially Margetts. He was very impressive at Sebring at round number 1. Unfortunately, since then, he's had his struggles, but a good bounce back to form here tonight for Reece Margetts. Now into 3rd place, O'Brien with 1 push to pass remaining with 3 laps to go. When will he try and use that? Margetts still has 3, so he can try and get away from Michael O'Brien whenever he needs to. The slipstream from O'Brien, though, he's in behind him. He's 8 kilometres now faster going into Lacombe, and Reece Margetts will hold on to the position for now, Reece.
Yeah, just a little bit longer, but O'Brien could have been looking after his tyres a little and could be coming back at him. Thomas Hinz, meanwhile, still keeping up the 1.3 second gap he has over Daniel Edmonds. Push to pass being used all the way through the midfield. Jones, Vaughan, Burns, Osafune and Jacobson. Dean evidently seeing that Cameron Dance has an opportunity here. Dance has got to slow down. He's slowing right down.
Did he have a slowdown?
Yeah, he must have. Yeah. Must have gotten a massive slowdown and waited until then to clear it. That's unfortunate there for Dance. So all the way back into 14th place now. Look at this fight, though. Tim Vaughan, Ryan Jones, Dwayne Burns and Asushi Osafune. That explains why they were all on push to pass. They're all tripping over each other, trying to get this race finished cleanly.
Yeah, some fantastic battling in this pack here, and Timothy Vaughan, he's the championship leader, remember, so he doesn't want to lose any more positions. He's already down in position number 9 in this race. He's dropped down to 3rd in the points, 25 behind Thomas Hinz as they finish right now, so he'll be trying desperately to try and stay in front of Ryan Jones for that 9th position. Sorry, he doesn't want to lose any more points to Hinz and Edmonds. Both leads on push to pass now as well, so there's going to be some fascinating battling in the final 2 laps here, Reese.
Can Ryan Jones make the move? Oh, he gets into the back of Tim Vaughan, and Vaughan is sent straight off the track. Jones immediately goes for the pit lane. Timothy Vaughan's rear suspension, number would have been done on it there. And that means that Asushi Osafune and Dwayne Burns both get 2 freebies each. Meanwhile, Scott Sosłowski versus Tyson Broad, the man who has been marching through this field, and it comes to an end at Eau Rouge, bumped wide. There's a reason why you don't often see cars going too wide through that section of the circuit. We just saw that there.
Unfortunately for Tyson Broad, there was quite a bit of netcode involved in that contact there with Scott Sosłowski, but that is the risk that you take when you try and go too wide through Eau Rouge. It's never pretty if you try and do it, and unfortunately for Tyson Broad, no matter what the outcome, unfortunately his race is going to be in tatters from here. Still in 8th, but he's got some massive damage and he's going to be right off the pace.
Indeed he will. That's such a shame for Tyson Broad. Well, he's going to lose spots to Dwayne Burns and to Atsushi Osafune as well. Dwayne Burns having a really good race right now in the Cobalt number 19, but coming up to the white flag for our leaders, Thomas Hinz in the lead by 1.5 seconds over Daniel Edmonds. Is there anything that Edmonds can do to make that gap up? He's going to have to count on a mistake from Thomas Hinz here, who, remember, still has 1 lap fresher tyres.
Yeah, Hinz hasn't really made a mistake all race long, and he's doing a fantastic job. The last time by, he lost nearly 1/10 of a second to Edmonds, but I think he's got enough of a gap here. Both on push to pass as well, Edmonds and also Thomas Hinz. Michael O'Brien, he's now using his final push to pass. Marget's on push to pass, so the top 4 all using push to pass down the Kemble Straight to try and get away from each other. I think it still could be on here for position number 3. Here comes O'Brien. Still on the push to pass is Marget, trying to hold him off. And look, O'Brien not quite close enough into turn number 5 to try and make a move. I think Marget, with that 1 extra push to pass, can use it down the back straight through Blanchmont and try and build that gap. I think he should be safe for the rest of this final lap.
Yeah, he'll certainly be hoping so. O'Brien has nothing left to fight with in terms of extra power. Margetts can just press the button coming out of Paul Frere Curve and get it done. The fight's still on between Burns and Osafune and Vaughan as well for the last position in the top 8. But no changes there for the time being. It's all about the fight for 3rd between Margetts and O'Brien. Wait for the opportunity and get that extra power. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones has gone over the incident limit. And unfortunately, that will be potentially a post-race drive-through assigned to him by the iRacing sim. But last couple of corners for Thomas Hinz, started on pole position, had to work for this victory. What a fantastic race it has been here in Fixed Indy Australia, Season 2, Round 5. It goes to Hinsey, with Daniel Edmonds finishing in second. What a great fight between those two.
Very well deserving win there for Thomas Hinds. A very well deserved top 2 there between Hinds and Edmonds, though the class of the field here tonight. Reese-Mar Jets did enough to get past O'Brien late in the pits and hang on for a podium. Christopher Ireland in 5th, and Harry Lawrence in a bit of a world of his own, 16th to 6th, so plus 10 for Harry Lawrence. A very quiet day for him, but very impressive at the same time. Kozlowski will finish 7th. Dwayne Burns coming through the bus stop. Here's Asafuna and Timothy Vaughan. This could be important for Timothy Vaughan's championship. Another spot for Timothy Vaughan, recovering after that contact with Ryan Jones. He'll get back to position number 9. That could pay all the difference later on in this season. So very important there for Timothy Vaughan. And once again, congratulations to Thomas Hinds on a fantastic victory here tonight.
Indeed. Dwayne Burns also making his way into the top 8 up from starting outside of the top 10. He should be very happy with himself for that, especially considering the issues that he suffered earlier, making contact with the Simrigs.com DPR car of, I believe, Chris Ireland. My goodness, what a race here in Fixed Indy Australia. We'll go through our race results and then we can hopefully have a chat to our podium. Also saw that Joe Mahoney exceeded the incident limit and served the drive-through for that as well. So he's gone down a few positions, but it was Thomas Hinds, Daniel Edmonds and Reese-Mar Jets, your podium. O'Brien in 4th place. He would have been hoping that he didn't come out behind Tyson Broad, otherwise he might have easily been 3rd. Chris Ireland manages to finish where he started in 5th. Harry Lawrence gaining 6 positions there. Scott Kozlowski, Dwayne Burns, Tim Vaughan, and Atsushi Osafune will round out our top 10, Brady.
Dean Jacobson will finish in position number 11. Unfortunately, reigning champion Cameron Dans at night to forget for him in 12th. Same for Ryan Jones, who had some really good pace throughout the night. He finished in 13th. Brody Shepherd 14th. Joe Mahoney 15th. Greg Patrick 16th. Unfortunately, Tyson Broad, his charge through the field came to no avail late there, finishing 1 lap down in 17th, along with Dylan Walker and Scott Rankin. Robbie Baxter finishing in 20th, 4 laps down. Unfortunately, tales of woe for Bailey Evans and James Glasspool, 6 and 25 laps down respectively, and Sam Kazakuznos not taking to the grid. And Reese, I believe you have caught up with our race winner for the night, Thomas Hinds.
Indeed, I have. Welcome to the comms box once again, Hinsey. Coming off the high of your win in the Majors Series and TCR at Bathurst over the weekend. Now you go to Fixed Indy Australia and win here, but certainly once again had to work for that victory.
Yeah, thanks, Reese. That was. I went into the series just happy to be to get top 5, so podiums, and I was like, wow, there we go. And then tonight, just I don't know what it was, it just all clicked, Quali actually qualied well, which is just unbelievable. I can't even remember the last time I got a pole. That's something I don't even know about. And then just obviously leading from the front, that's not something I'm very used to, so it was a bit different than normal. I'm usually sort of trying to fight through, so I was just trying to sort of keep the tyres alive, play it smart with Dan, and it was great fun battling. We were having an awesome battle all race, just sort of keeping each other honest, sort of trying to mind games with each other, letting each of us go and figure out who was faster and what the go was. And it was awesome to get the win. I didn't expect to get a win in this season, so that's another objective I didn't have down ticked off. So cool. so hopefully I can keep it going throughout the rest of the season.
Excellent stuff there, Hinsey. And just a question in terms of strategy. We did see drivers attempting fuel saving early on to try and make it a one-stopper. Was that ever a consideration for you?
So right after, obviously, because of the safety car, I didn't know exactly how tight it was going to be on fuel. So I went for it initially, and then I was sort of going for it, and then Dan was keeping with me, so he got a run. I just kind of let him have it, and thought I'll just stick behind him and try and fuel save and see what the go was. And then the numbers, you had to save 15, 16 or more litres to make it, and that just went too much. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to fuel save, so I just went back to it again. then then it was good actually at the end. I was sort of hoping Dan was going to pass me actually at the end before the last stop. I kind of wanted him to, because I wanted to react to what he did. So it was good when he actually passed me. That was actually really nice, because then I just waited, and if he basically, I was going to do the old F1 trick of whatever he didn't do, I was going to do, and as soon as he pitted, I just stayed out the one lap and gave me that one lap fresh tyres, which seemed to be a big factor in the end. So they all worked out quite nice actually. So definitely I looked at it, but it was just too much to save, so that sort of got thrown in the bin pretty quick.
Well, there we go. I suppose now the floor is yours, Hinsey. Anyone you'd like to thank for your victory tonight?
Well, big thanks to Henry. He got the delivery done. I know he's obviously a very busy man, and I think he wasn't really sure what to go with the inspiration. He paints so many paints. He's just always doing paints, so it's understandable that you sort of run out of inspiration after doing your 5,000th paint. So obviously the IndyCar is very different to the usual ones that the HGR guys tend to run. So he got some inspiration though to do it, and I think it looks phenomenal. I love the look of it, just an awesome looking livery. So big thanks to Henry to be able to give me that, and I'm glad I got it to first race, first win the livery. So it must be good, must be something good going on there. Big thanks to him and the team, obviously awesome group. Big thanks to Dan, everyone at AOG. They run such a great series here, and all the series I see they do, they run an awesome job. So big kudos to Dan and his crew that obviously wouldn't have these without the guys running it. So always got to bow down to them in my mind. So big thanks to them, and big thanks to you guys for an awesome broadcast, I'm sure.
Excellent stuff from Thomas Hins, taking the win here in the 5th round of Fixed Indy Australia. Next up on the roster, Brady, we have Daniel Edmonds, a very strong second-place finish.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was tough out there, but another podium is nice.
We seem to not have Brady Baldwin, unfortunately, so I'll take over for the second place interview. Congratulations, Daniel. It was certainly a hard-fought battle with Hinsey towards the end. In fact, all race long. Let's just extend it out to that. Did notice that you were lifting off in the braking zones when you were running behind him, so evidently trying to shorten your pit stops to gain more of an advantage.
I had to do something. I wasn't quite fast enough today, so maybe fuel could have worked, but I didn't quite save enough the first stint, enough to jump in the pit stop. But once I was out front, I didn't quite have the pace to break the toe. So I just had to try and do things a bit different. Sometimes if you make a little mistake, I could get back past and try and be annoying or something and try and force a mistake. That's about all I really had. So I just had to try something different and hope for the best.
Indeed. Well, coming out of this round, you are still second place in the championship. Coming up to Iowa next round, next oval of the season. What do you think about that place? It's a bit of a shorter oval than Texas, so the tyres are probably going to go through a little more.
It'll be different. I haven't done too many laps of Iowa at all, so it'll be a bit of a roll of the dice, I think, for a lot of people, but that's the fun of ovals. You never sort of know what's going to happen. I didn't feel too comfortable last round and I got 4th, so maybe we can do something like that again. But let's try and have fun and keep myself at the front, try and keep some pressure on in the championship, but it's starting to get a little bit difficult.
Well, regardless, you should be very happy with your performance here tonight, Daniel. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
So big thanks to everyone at simrigs.com DPR. It's always fun to go racing with the boys. And thanks to our awesome partners, simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, and Max Mechanical, MP Design. And a massive thanks to everyone at AOG and yourselves for doing commentary. It's always so much back and awesome broadcast. So thank you very much.
Thank you to you too. Daniel Edmonds joining us in the comms box there. Finally, Brady, now Reese Margetts is with us in the comms box. 3rd place, 2nd DPR car on the podium.
Yeah, DPR looking very strong here tonight. Double podium for you guys, Reese. Congratulations. How did that race play out in your eyes?
Yeah, cheers. It's pretty good. I was pretty happy with my pace. Couldn't quite match the boys up front on the hard tyre, but I was really, really happy with my pace. I surprised myself with qualifying. So, I was pretty happy. It's a good race.
How fun was that last stint as well? Battling Michael O'Brien for the podium. It looked like a really good, clean and hard tussle between you two guys.
Yeah, that was mega fun. He surprised me going on the alternates 2 stints in a row. I didn't think you could get that sort of that many laps out of him. So yeah, no, that was mega fun. Little battle we had there, and I was making sure I had enough push the passes left at the end to defend him down the long straight. So yeah, no, it was mega fun.
Well, after tonight, you now move to 5th in the championship standings, jumping up a few positions before we head to Iowa in 2 weeks' time for the next round. So have you done any laps around there in the IndyCar, or do you know what to expect going into that next round in 2 weeks' time?
I've never done a lap around Iowa, to be honest. The ovals aren't really my thing. That's kind of one of the reasons I joined the league, is to get a bit more experience in the ovals. So yeah, I'll do a bit of practice before it and try and figure it out and see how we go.
Well, before we let you go, Reese, anyone you'd like to thank for your 3rd place run here tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Just start off with all the boys at AOG. Been a great league so far. Everyone in race control, yourselves with the broadcast every week, and all the boys at DPR. Yeah, been awesome. And then just for our sponsors as well, simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, and Neil Pearson Designs.
Congratulations once again, Reese, and hopefully we can talk to you again soon.
Yeah, hope so. Cheers.
There is
Reese there. Sorry, Brady, go on.
I was just going to say Reese Marget's 3rd spot, and there's your provisional championship standings. Reese, 23 points, separating Thomas Hins and Daniel Edmonds up the top. Timothy Vaughan, our championship leader, coming in, now down to 3rd, but only 2 points behind Edmonds, so it's pretty close up the top, isn't it?
Oh yeah, certainly is. Can't wait to see what form the championship takes coming out of the next round of Fixed Indy Australia. It's going to be taking place at Iowa Speedway in 2 weeks' time from 8:15 p.m. Australian Eastern on the 30th of April. Magnificent oval circuit, this one. It's one of the circuits where we see the higher downforce oval package being used, so there's certainly going to be some big moves, a lot of speed being carried through the corners, and some great racing, we certainly hope. Thanks very much for joining us here on SimSpeed TV on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick for the 5th round of AOG Fixed Indy Australia. Big thanks to the crew at AOG for putting all of this together, to Worm Paints as well for the safety car livery. I'm Reese Gardner, Brady Baldwin with me in the comms box, Jay Kennedy behind the scenes with SimSpeed TV, and we'll see you next time.